Good morning. Welcome to another early morning video. Oh wow, it's 6 o'clock exactly. Wow. Okay. I've got these pens that I want to use. These are by Winsor & Newton. Basically, they're technical pens. They're fine liners. I ordered them because I wanted them. And they're here now, so I can use them. So these are just kind of some random sketches. This was just what I felt like drawing. And this is in my Arteza, or nope, not Arteza. This is in my Artex, it's hard to see, my Artex sketchbook. I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, I'm 100% sure. In my first video in this series, I said I probably wouldn't stick with this format. But here's what I did was I want to try sticking with the format because I want to see what I can get from it. That is something I've learned when trying something new is you try it once and the first thing you're going to discover is you're not good at it. If you stick with it and you try it multiple times, you can discover a little bit beyond that. You know, like, okay, I'm not good at it, but I really benefit from XYZ. So for me, I'm not exceptionally good at this format. Talking and drawing at the same time is a little challenging. But what I benefit from is the feeling of habit and routine. It's a lot easier to make this format into a routine versus vlogging. I also find that it's a good outlet for my thoughts because I tend to think. This is a good outlet. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a very natural at like this more like podcasty format, or this like, it's not so much the podcast format, it's the drawing and talking at the same time. I wouldn't say I'm great at that, but I benefit from this format, so I'm kind of keeping on with this, and yeah, so that's why we're doing this after I said I probably wouldn't do it again. My goal for these morning videos is typically that they take like half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour. I don't know if I'll get this whole double page spread done in that amount of time. Initially, this spread, I didn't know what I wanted to draw, and I kind of thought, you know what, let's just draw some houses. And I was just gonna like try and draw as many kinds of houses as I could. But then I started drawing kind of more of a Japanese style house, which made me think of Sugar Serpent, which is one of my comic projects that I'm working on. And I was like, actually, I want to draw Sugar Serpent stuff. So that's what we moved to. This house doesn't really have a context. There's no story or comic or world building or anything that goes along with this. This was just a I don't know what to draw moment. I worked so intensely on my comic, Days Are in Eleanor, and my upcoming comics, that drawing for fun is very difficult, which I think I've talked about before. Drawing just to kind of check in with myself, to be like, what's going on with my brain? Let's draw and see how it goes. Because as soon as I have time to draw, I'm like, oh, I need to be drawing actual comic pages or filming something really brilliant for YouTube, or just there's a lot of pressure to like be as maximally productive as possible. And there's some truth to that, because I don't have a whole lot of downtime. If you work a full-time job, or if you're going to school, or you were raising a family or whatever, your downtime is rare. And you're like, I gotta treat it like a precious resource because it is. But at the same time, I just kind of know that my important, quote unquote, important art is gonna go stale if I don't occasionally do unimportant art that's just for kind of being in touch with my own brain, my own creativity. Kind of what I think of as like the artist's soul. Where it's like, yes, you have these things that you have to get done, but also, how does the artist feel? What does the artist need today? I guess, you know what, that's actually a good way to think of it. Art needs a lot from me, a lot of the time. But occasionally it's kind of nice to be like, hey, what do I need from art? And sometimes what I need from art is some goofy little houses that don't make a whole lot of sense. Sometimes it's trees and plants or flowers. Sometimes it's characters. Like, what does my brain need from art this week, today? I don't think it really looks like it, but this house made me think of Myst as I was playing it. I was like, oh, this is totally like a dome you would find on a Myst island. And then you'd have to find some complicated code to get in there. Or you'd get in there and there's nothing there until you find a code, and then you can find all the stuff inside. So this house is the one that, like, I just felt like drawing it. And then after I drew it, I was like, we're gonna draw a bunch of Japanese-inspired sugar serpent stuff. I love inking these kind of tiny drawings. Like, this is a little house. But I love inking these kind of things because I just feel like, I mean, one, it's a lot easier because you can't see all that detail. You don't have to draw it because it's not visible, right? So there's that, but then also it's just, there's something about this little sort of drawing. There's just sort of a charm to it that I really like. I'll probably go over it again with a thicker pen. Because I feel like this is, like, all of these are looking a little bit like monolinear. I'm not a super big fan of how that is turning out, so probably add a little bit more depth into the line quality with a thicker pen at the end. We'll see. Because like I said, I do want to color these, so sometimes the coloring can add depth and sometimes it needs to be line art. So my main comic that is available now to read is Days Are in Eleanor. That's up on Webtoons right now. And you guys, if you've been around, you guys know about Sugar Serpent, which is my next follow-up project. It's in a totally different world, different setting, all that kind of stuff. For a long time, I have been feeling like the world building element of Sugar Serpent is pretty weak. And it was also that way for Days Are in Eleanor, but I kind of gave myself a pass because it was my first time really sticking with a project, a comic project. And I kind of was like, you know what, just draw the comic and don't worry about the world building, just worry about developing like that muscle to just draw that sheer amount of panels. So yeah, with Days Are in Eleanor, I kind of knew there was a lot of world building and development that could have happened, and I just didn't worry about it because I just wanted to learn how to like draw that much, just the quantity. I worried about quantity over quality. So anyway, with Sugar Serpent, I kind of want to push the quality a bit more. I want the world to feel rich and developed and believable. And I started drawing comic pages, and I can just kind of already feel that there's not a whole lot of world there. There's not a whole lot of context. which means as I draw the comic, I will be developing that on the fly, which is not a brilliant way to develop a comic. The areas that do have depth, I really like. I just can kind of tell I don't know the world very well. And I'm concerned. There are some little things that I know. So like, for example, when I was researching like this style of house, I learned that these thingies, which I had seen in pictures before, these little things right here, I think they should be bigger, but it's, I think, rice? It's been a while. It's been a couple years since I researched this initially, but essentially they tie it together like this to dry it out, and then they will use these to help thatch their roofs throughout the winter to make sure snow and rain and stuff doesn't get in. And it's just little details like that that I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what those are for. They're not just random. It's not just decorative. It's not even about the farming necessarily. It's about fixing the roofs. So just stuff like that adds a lot to the world, even if I never show the readers thatching, even if I never show the readers using that. It just adds a little bit more to the world to have it there. So that's the kind of thing I would like to add more of, and it's just not my strength as a writer. I don't enjoy research. I just want to draw the comic. I just want to draw the characters. I just want the plot to get going. This is going to be more than 20 minutes. I need to get going a little bit faster. Anyway, so I've been thinking about that a lot, and just kind of realized like how much world building I haven't done for Sugar Serpent. And I did start drawing pages. I think I'm like 15 pages in. Which in the broad scheme of things is not very far. But it just kind of, I'm kind of like before I go much further, I need to decide, does the world need more research? Does it need to be developed a little bit more cohesively? Like, I gotta decide before I go too far. I mean, to give myself credit, I have done some research. I have done some. I think it's what I notice is that I can feel it enriching the world. Excuse you, Miss Bobo. Go on your bed. Bed. Good girl. No, bed. All the way on your bed. I can feel it enriching the world. And then it's kind of like once I'm like, oh, that feels more believable or realistic, I just kind of stop. I just need to push it a little bit further. I need to think about the research instead of like in terms of I have to do all this work. I need to think about it in terms of like, I'm gonna save future me all this work so that when the time comes, I can just draw comic pages without pausing to be like, hey, how did people during this time actually manage this? A super specific example of this in my comic Days and Eleanor is there's a scene where Eleanor goes outside to get water, because I was like, I definitely know, I guess, that they didn't have running water inside. So I was like, yeah, she goes out to the pump to get water. And then I got to that panel and I was like, oh, I don't know how to draw a water pump at all. Like, not even a little bit. Which is, you know, that's a really specific example. It's not like you have to have every prop designed and memorized and like be good at drawing it, but it's just an example of like, wow, I wrote this in there and I have no idea what it looks like. I don't actually know how it works. And I did that to myself so much in Days in Eleanor. It was a real pain. So in Sugar Serpent, I would like to cut back on those moments. Those moments of, I told myself I had to draw this and illustrate it, and I have no idea what I'm doing. There's a tree here, but there's also a house here, so I don't know what I was doing with this panel, or this sketch either. I don't think there's going to be a tree there. We'll put a rock here. So like one thing in Sugar Serpent. Something in Sugar Serpent that has been a growing, like, I guess you'd call it like a red flag, like something that I thought wasn't brilliant to begin with, but the more I work on it, the more I'm like, no, this is actually going to mess up the story. It's the town where they live. So I have the main character, Meg. She owns a bakery. But then every time I draw it, she's in this like tiny kind of rural village. And I'm just like, how could she sustain a bakery in a tiny, tiny village? Like, I envision her baking like sweets and pastries and stuff, which, like, if you're in a tiny, tiny little farm town, who's gonna be buying that? So I've just been feeling like for a long time, I should move her to a larger city. Oh, I wanted the rock to be in front. Oh well. I should move her to a larger city that, you know, could sustain her business, because it would make more sense if she lives somewhere where there's more people, because she's kind of selling specialty items. So, and there's very much a part of me that's like, I don't want to draw a large city if I don't have to. So anyway, that's something I've been thinking about. Just kind of like, does my world actually have the depth that it needs for the drama to come across? Or do I need to do a little bit more deep diving into the world to kind of get a better understanding of like the mundane that surrounds the exciting and the drama? I guess we're putting a rock here. Kind of just implying some paths here for funsies. Make the doors stand out a little bit more. Mainly so that I can find them later when I go to color. When in doubt, add mountains in the background. Actually, I don't know if these are mountains or just boulders in the background, because the scale is a bit off. But I kind of actually like that. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna thicken up some of the line art really fast. I am gonna color it, so I don't want to go like overboard right now. I like to kind of like really finalize and fine tune the ink after I color, because it kind of tells me what the image needs. Like after I color, I might discover that it doesn't need much extra inking, or I might discover like, nope, it really needs some punchier line art to tie it all together. So I just want to do a bit here. This looks so flat and cartoony, but that's okay. As I wrap this up, I want to thank you guys for being here. You've been watching this series. Tell me what you think. Although I'll be honest, like I think I mentioned at the beginning, this format is just really way more sustainable for me than vlogs. So I'm just kind of like, I just kind of need to commit to it for right now. I'm not saying I won't do vlogs at all anymore. It's just that these are the kind of videos that I feel like pretty confident I can get out and do consistently. And the way YouTube works is kind of like, you need to teach YouTube what kind of content you make, because then it knows who to send your content to. So I'm just kind of like, well, if this is the content I can make consistently, I just kind of need to commit to it, to teach YouTube to send out this kind of content to the people who enjoy this. So if you are someone who enjoys my vlogs, I will try to do them occasionally, but I just find that I can't do them consistently. And YouTube demands consistency. So thank you for being here. If you're watching all these, I do appreciate it. That means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like and subscribe to see me color this and ink the other side, which is more character focused. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.